Scan any newsfeed and you will see the same pattern. People locked into rigid clusters, unable to agree on a shared reality. This fracturing is a geometric collapse of our consciousness. It is a structural failure caused by a mismatch between our ancient cognitive hardware and the modern information landscape. For 1.8 million years, human cognition evolved in the environment of evolutionary adaptedness, or EEA. This ancestral setting demanded brains capable of handling the immediate physical reality of small nomadic bands. Within those small groups, we developed differentiation of self. This is the specific cognitive ability to maintain independent, objective thoughts while remaining emotionally connected to an anxious tribe. Submerging these small-scale brains in today's infinite context digital world creates a flood of abstract uncertainty that our ancient hardware cannot process. The result is a systemic psychological collapse. We often view the human brain as a computer processing data, but that technological metaphor misses how we actually manage stress. The mind functions more like a thermodynamic engine. It is a biological system built to process emotional energy and environmental uncertainty. This chart compares the probability of selecting an action in different states. To remain healthy, the mind manages internal entropy by expending energy to maintain cognitive predictability. In a familiar environment, the brain settles into this low entropy distribution, efficiently matching sensory inputs to reliable habits. The modern digital influx overwhelms this engine's capacity to reduce that disorder. Our brains are forced into a state of chronic, energy-draining stress as the internal entropy rises. Physicist Erwin Schrödinger observed that life thrives by resisting entropy. In a healthy brain, this manifests as an endothermic process. The mind absorbs energy from its surroundings to learn, adapt, and maintain intellectual flexibility. Chronic modern stress triggers the opposite state. The brain becomes exothermic, bleeding energy through reactivity and defaulting to rigid survival behaviors. This exothermic bleed restricts the mind's ability to process new information. We begin to rely on extreme cognitive shortcuts just to maintain a sense of control. Under the law of conservation of emotion, this energy doesn't simply vanish. It must be altered or stored. When chronic anxiety and trauma are left unprocessed, they solidify into mental mass. These are dense, rigid identity structures that weigh down our cognitive architecture. Because emotional energy is conserved, unrelenting modern stress physically accumulates as this heavy mental mass within the structure of the mind. Albert Einstein famously showed that physical mass curves the fabric of spacetime. A similar geometry exists within our consciousness, where the mass of our traumas and anxieties curves our cognitive spacetime. In a healthy, differentiated mind, this internal geometry is flat and navigable. It allows multiple perspectives and conflicting truths to coexist as independent paths. When we accumulate concentrated mental mass, that flat grid warps. The internal geometry of our thoughts bends under the weight of unresolved stress. Our thought paths are no longer straight or independent. They are pulled by this internal gravity, collapsing into a single, inescapable trajectory. This curvature eventually creates an epistemic event horizon. It is a singularity where metaphor and reality collapse, trapping the mind in a single, rigid, and inescapable viewpoint. This internal cognitive singularity is the direct cause of the external societal regression we see today. As cognitive spacetime warps under stress, we lose higher-order prefrontal cortex functions. We regress instantly to ancient evolutionary behaviors. This manifests as extreme binary thinking and total fusion with our in-group. We lose the capacity to see any perspective outside our own gravitational well. Extreme polarization is a symptom of this collapsed cognitive geometry. For those caught in the gravity of a singularity, alternative perspectives become physically unreachable. Escaping the gravity of our own anxiety requires a way to flatten our cognitive geometry. This requires differentiation, the practice of holding objective truth even under pressure. Nobel laureate Sir Roger Penrose models this high differentiation logic, which functions as a form of medicine for a warped system. We burn off accumulated mental mass by actively testing our beliefs against reality and strictly limiting the flood of digital information. As that mass decreases, cognitive spacetime flattens. This restores our ability to navigate a complex, multifaceted reality with multiple independent paths. Mental health and societal cooperation are thermodynamic requirements. They are the essential forces that keep the space-time of our minds open and navigable.